I wasn't really sure what to expect when I opened up this game. It had been a while since I'd read the Steam page, so I just started it up and decided to see what happened. I was greeted with a little prologue telling me what the story was about, which was nice and had a few jokes thrown in. The concept of the game is fairly ridiculous to begin with. Two scientists accidentally made a hyper-intelligent panda and decide that, after it escapes, the only way to go and stop it is to send someone back in time and stop it from ever being created. They argue on who to send, and after a pretty cheesy line, they send the janitor. So you play as the janitor in your car, and you're sent through a portal into the Roman era and get dumped in a coliseum and have to fight your way out. The biggest cause of challenge in the game is the controls themselves. The drifter part of the title holds true because there is a lot of skidding around involved, and because the car constantly moves forward with no way to brake or slow down. It makes it fairly tricky to control. But once you get the hang of it, you can enjoy smashing Roman gladiators into the ground with your car until you're greeted with the level cleaned pun, which I appreciated. As is explained in the beginning, items you pick up act as your health, as well as having perks to help you in the fights. And you can pile those up to a humorous degree, but if you get attacked, one of your health items is destroyed and you lose your perk with it. Perks are everything from MLG hitbox memes to Mario-inspired mushroom growth, explosive flying shells and novelty ball and chains, to a literal airstrike. The more lives you have, the more powerful you get, in a way. You lose perks by being hit by enemy attacks, because this game has uncovered an untold part of history where wooden shafted spears were powerful enough to literally explode a whole car, apparently. You also gain the ability to slow down time. The period of that depending on how much you've built up your time meter, which you build by running people over. This gives you a chance to slow your enemies down and get a few of them out of the way if they're starting to build up. The ability stops once the meter hits the bottom, so you can use it as a quick boost, or as a way to pretty much end a fight. You can still be killed with time slow active. It doesn't make you immune in any way, so you still have to be careful. You have a variety of enemies to battle with, and a boss at the end of the era. Which brings up an issue. The game seems to have been discontinued after the Roman era section, which is a shame because I was all ready for the next stage straight afterwards. But in the credits section there is a RIP Medieval era section, which means it was most likely scrapped. However, to fill in a bit more content, they implemented an endless mode where you can fight through 10 levels per stage in the arena and try to climb up as far up the tower as you can. Which is fairly challenging, to be honest, and was a good addition to get some extra time out of the game and make up for the chops of the campaign mode. It introduced some enemies that you don't see in the limited story mode, such as wizards that can give others protective shields, or you if you manage to get in the way, and wizards that can make massive fire explosions, and archers with bouncing arrows, and yeah. What I do find funny about the shield wizards is that they have no attack ability at all, so when there's only two of them left, they just give each other shields and then wander around like they're out for a picnic. Anyway. The graphics are nothing all that special in general. The cutscene art was good, the game itself looks a lot like any Flash game you'd play on the internet with its 2D art, and the backgrounds are very similar. Overall it took me about half an hour to beat the campaign in the first level of Endless Mode, so content level is unfortunately a little lacking. Of course, you could devote a fair amount of time to Endless Mode, but the game does get a bit samey after a while as all the levels are on the same arena ground and there's no variation in the map, just in the enemies, and even those are limited. Unfortunately, I couldn't give it a positive rating because, whilst it was fun, it didn't have enough lifespan to it. Good for a quick play to fill some time, but could just as easily be missed. I rate Time Drifter a 4 out of 10.